Can you turn the TV?
How much?
Can you control the TV and see if it's popping up? Hello?
You hear me? I don't know. Can you?
Hello? Hello?
Hello? It's super late. The detergent.
Yeah, I think we live.
Yeah, definitely live. But it's like super late. What I
It's
do.
recording. Yeah, okay. So we are definitely live here on the Common Sense Philosophy channel. So yeah. It's first time being live, so we're just checking everything. Make sure you guys can hear us. Need to see the chat. Wow. First time being live, so we're just checking everything. You guys can hear us. Where is the chat? Trying to find. See the chat. Okay. I think I can see the chat now. Let's see if. See if anybody's in the chat. You know, type something in, see if I can see it. We're doing everything on the fly. People say they want us to do on these lives, so we got a live form. Yeah. Can't really see this chat. Trying to see. Okay. So yeah, I see Money Eyes channel. See you in there. Okay. All right. Okay, well, we're gonna try to have a little conversation real quick. Kind of talk about so many topics. Well, I guess we'll take some time to speak on well, there's so many things going on. I guess first, I guess we could speak on the weather. You know, do you think it was what did it come out to be what they said it was going to be, or do you think they over exaggerated? Well, let me start out. Welcome to the Common Sense Philosophy channel. This is our first live. You know, we decided to jump on here and let it do what it do. We're going to be talking about so many topics. We're going to get these mics and everything together. But you know, sometimes you gotta jump in the water. It's a single swim. So we're gonna swim. We're gonna figure it out. Some of the videos you hear, I have a co-host. Some of the videos, most I do them by myself. And most of these lives will definitely probably have a co-host. So we'll be talking about different topics. Get on here, and if you're on here, ask questions, and just grow the channel. The question again was, do you think that the weather was overhyped up, or do you think it was what they said it was going to be, as far as the storm is concerned?
Yeah, yeah. I think that they were on. I think they were on. There was some spaces that didn't get hit as hard, but I think overall, everything that they said was going to happen happened. The ice, the snow, the coldness. I think they was right.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because you saw people when it first happened, they were like, "Oh, it don't look that bad. It don't look like nothing's happening." I remember that was like the little jokes they were playing, and then boom, all of a sudden, it was got a little drastic out there.
Yeah.
And what I seen was, I don't think people take information serious. You know, I think that's a problem. You know, when you get information, you should be willing to take it more serious. I don't think you should be waiting and playing games concerning those things. I think it's important to learn what you need to learn. And if someone says, hey, there's probably going to be a snowstorm, more than just running out and getting a whole bunch of stuff, I think you should already be on a basic that you have certain stuff in the house. Just over buying that people did, I just think they need to get out of that. This seems to be happening every time, just over buying. What you think about that, the overbuying?
Yeah, because the overbuying, I think, throws everything off to where like people can't just get a couple gallons of water or a couple packs of toilet paper because people go on this frenzy because everybody's last minute with things, and now there's not enough for everybody because you want to go in and buy all the toilet paper, or you want to buy
Right.
all the water. So now the next people don't have no water, and it just throws everything off.
Yeah.
So I think people on a basic level should have certain things where you just can piece and part, like, okay, I might be low on toilet paper, so let me go get this, or let me get a couple gallons of water because I already have some at the house. Like, instead of having to go and do a whole haul, and now there ain't nothing, and people are upset, people are going without. Like, I think we need to get more versed in getting things just on a regular, consistent basis in the house. You should just have things just in case, because it don't have to be a winter storm. It could just be the power in your house, your building went out, or your house went out, but you need to have this stuff, but it ain't have nothing to do with the weather. You should just have it just in case.
Yeah, like basic things like water, your food, um, whatever food, canned goods, things of that nature. I think that's just important to have anyway. Um, just using your common sense. This, I'm gonna go out and buy everything immediately, then to feel like you might be cheated. It's like, why do you continue to do that? Um, It'd be best just to have some of the things there. And then when you go pick up those things that you think you might need,
Yeah.
But overall, it should be just adding. It shouldn't be this where you feel like you're just blowing your whole check and you're like, it better be a storm, where you're very upset, and then they're not just he does it not
Nauseous.
yeah, nauseous, right? You're nauseous about the situation because you feel like your money has been,
Nauseated about the whole situation.
yeah,
You just did too much.
yeah. You like, oh man, I ain't bought all this, and I bought all this bread, I bought all this water. And it's like, no, you should come to the point where you're just happy about having the information to be able to do something about it. That's it. Take the information for what it is. Concern yourself with that, and be your best with that. That's what I think, as far as the weather situation.
Yeah. I mean, too, everybody's not meteorologists and all that stuff. So if you're not going to listen to what they say, then why even look at it?
Right.
Instead of watching them and then criticizing them about, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. They always say this, they always say that. It might have looked a certain way, but the way nature even does things, it could switch. It could have happened, but then something might change, and then, okay, it didn't happen now. So I think being on top of things on a regular basis would even have you be more comfortable with listening to people, because you're like, okay, let me just already have these things, so you won't even have to sit there and criticize and be like, I heard what they said, am I ready for this if this happens? Because I'd rather be ready than not listen to them and then not be ready.
Yeah, is that's worse. To uh, first, it's worse to actually heard and then don't do anything about it, because now it's just reckless. To not know, to be ignorant and just not know is one thing, but to know and you still don't prepare on purpose is crazy, because I think it's going to get on your nerves, because you're like, man, I actually knew about this and I didn't do nothing about it. So that's going to take more of a on you. You're going to feel away.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that pulls anger out in people. So the movies, they get all this stuff from real things.
Yeah.
They over dramatize things in movies, or they don't, because sometimes the stuff be really real. Like, stuff can get really real, and if you're not ready, and I swear all that frantic, and now I'm gonna go and steal from my neighbor, or in the movies, that's where it comes from.
Right.
Because they're not ready. If they were ready, then we wouldn't have to think I have to go and get this from over here, or go and rob the store, or do this, because I already prepared myself for a maybe.
Exactly.
Because sometimes maybe happens.
Yeah. And I can understand it too, because the life itself is set up that things can happen. That's just the way life is set up. What you're trying to do as you gain knowledge and become wiser is to set your life up that you can kind of absorb whatever comes at you.
Right.
You know, you can kind of deal with it. And that comes from setting some type of structure in your life. So that's why I say you should have basic things. For those that are like, well, everybody don't have the money to have basic things. Well, then if you don't have any money, then what are we complaining about you overbuying for?
Exactly.
You can't overbuy unless you have some money, you know?
Mm.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say there's some money while you're able to overbuy, you know, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, so that I would say just put some pre-thought into it before you set out and just start purchasing and doing stuff like that. I would say listen to the weather and learn about your area, because some things is just not your area.
Right. Exactly.
You know, you see people doing things, they're like, it's not even gonna come to your area like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important too.
Yeah. I definitely got paid. That would be the details. You pay attention to the details of things, because that's where you get all your answers at. Just because it's winter wonderland. That's what it looked like outside.
Right.
But a winter storm coming, and you're not even in the counties that they're announcing. So you done went and bought all this stuff, and you ain't even in the area where they broadcasted this to be at. And on the other side, if you aren't paying attention to it and you are in the counties and you're just like, oh, whatever, and then come to find out that you were actually the top county that they said was going to get hit, and now you're not ready. The details, you got to pay attention to the details.
Yeah, and I think be excited about learning about the details. Quit making it like a problem, or that the news guy's getting on your nerves, or the news lady. Get the information. Find out exactly what's going on so you can put it together, process it, and go to the next level of making you and your family safe. I just think that's very important. You know, it doesn't make sense not to deal with it as such. You know, it's like even starting a YouTube channel. It's a process you got to go through, and you can talk to people about it all the time, but that they think it's supposed to happen just overnight. You just start the channel, boom, people gonna follow it. They're gonna just, you know, they want to do their lives, they want to immediately get to it. You gotta process all this. You gotta learn every step, and you can like hire people to show you everything, or you can just get in there and learn it yourself. And I like to learn. I like to get in, like I'm on the live now. All this is happening in real time, and as long as it sounds somewhat good enough, I'm going to keep it so I can always come back to it a year later, 6 months, a year, 2 years. Like, oh, that's how we did it the first time. You know, you have to learn. Or it can sound like crap. It can sound too bad, you know, I don't know. But if it's something somewhat decent, where you can listen to it, then you keep it. And you grow from there, because you have to start somewhere. You got to lay your first brick. You know, you get into that mind state, keep saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Well, just do it. Once you do it, you set a point, and then you walk it out from there. It's not about trying to be better than anybody else. Yeah, I guess there's always a little bit of competition, but you got to basically still just do your thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you definitely do. You got to start, because everybody's waiting for the perfect time to start something. The perfect time is now.
Yeah.
Because like you just said, you got to learn things. Like you run into a hiccup, you get past it, and then you're like, okay, if this happens again, I know how to fix this. And then you just build on that piece by piece, and then you turn, if you keep going, the consistency is what's going to build the foundation is going to be strong off of you being consistent.
Yeah.
And then you can outsource and do all those things, you know, but you should know how to look at it yourself and see what this is too.
Exactly.
Because you might not be able to call them. They might be busy at the time. You might need them right now, and they busy. Right. You got to be able to do something, apply some of your knowledge to it.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And I think people lose sight of that. A lot of the stuff because you're dealing with this technology already, right? So just technology alone, you're going to have to learn as things go. This is not something you jump in later. You need to come on in now, figure it out now, what you're doing. When you wait, that's how you become the people say, "Oh man, I wish I got in on that." It's happening. We're here now. Come on in and learn now.
Yep. So you can be comfortable in it. This world is going to forever be changing, growing, new AI, new software, new devices. It's always going to be something new. So if you don't ever get in it, then you're not gonna know what you're doing. So like, do it now. Do it now. The perfect time is now. You get in there, you learn, and then you become a veteran in it, and you can show somebody else how to do it. Bring them in where you're at, because you already know. You can teach somebody, because we always talk about, dang, I wish I had somebody to call. Sometimes you might need to become the person that people need to call.
Exactly.
A lot of us don't have nobody to call, so you got to get in there.
Yeah.
You got to become that person. Instead of we stay complaining about that part of things. The only way we can change it is become that person.
Right.
Inspire somebody else to become that person for somebody else, and just keep going like that, so that now more of us have somebody to call.
Yeah. That's so true, because things are continually happening. It's so important that you get in, learn while you're doing it, make sure you're still doing some searching and some researching, and you combine that, deal with the problems you see, solution it, move on to the next. And that's what it's about. And using your a lot of this is using your common sense. Once you see something work, keep doing that. If it don't work, get away from it. Perfection is you. It's you. The thing about perfection, people think it's just one line for perfection. No, perfection is a line that's forever moving, forever changing. What you thought was perfect yesterday is not perfect today. So it's always going to change. You're going to always see where you can do better. So that's why you got to keep processing the information, continue to move forward, and be excited about it. Be excited about getting things done. And as the Bible says, don't despise small beginnings.
Right.
You got to be happy with your beginnings and grow them, because everything that grows big started from a small seed, started from a thought, something, your imagination. You just got to get happy about doing it. And once you start doing it and processing it, you're going to get something out of it. Something's going to happen. Something's going to come out of it. You're going to enjoy it. You'll be glad you did. And that's why it's so important to do it.
Yeah. I mean, like everything, like the computers we use, the phones we use, the reason why we can go and get a new iPhone every 6 months, get new microphones for if you're doing podcasts, or buying new shoes. All of these things came from somebody having a thought and being excited about it and going ahead and getting it done.
Right.
That's what this world is built off of. The small beginnings. It started off as a thought. Like, oh, this would be nice if I could do this. And then they go ahead and do it. And that inspires somebody else to go do something.
Exactly.
And then more and more people are being inspired. That's why we have all these nice things that we can enjoy in our life on a day-to-day basis. Like these houses and buildings, apartments, cars, all this stuff. We didn't start with this stuff at the beginning of time. Was they riding dinosaurs? Like there wasn't we didn't have these cars. We didn't have these houses. We didn't have trash bags. Like just small things. You were like, well, this is just small. This is needed though.
Yeah.
And it started from somebody sitting down and having a thought, being excited about it, and going ahead and doing what they need to do to get it done.
Exactly. Everything starts from a thought. I definitely agree with that. And once you have the thought, then you take to search and research, and now we get back to information, like the weather. It's like, once you get some information, you gotta know how to process it into your day-to-day physical life.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't matter if you read a book, Are you talking to someone in a conversation? Whatever information you receive, you have to take it and process it into your everyday life. So they say, hey, it's a storm coming. You got to process that into your life. And if you live in an area where the storm is not hit like that, don't mess up the people that the storm is coming for by saying, oh, ain't nothing going to happen. No, they need to get prepared for it.
Yep.
While you're saying that, you're making them think ain't nothing going to happen. And they open up their garage door and there's nothing but snow.
Yep.
Because you were living in an area where that's not what was taking place.
Exactly.
So there's some responsibility that needs to be taken with saying information is not information if you really don't know. You have to take proper accounting of the things we say and how we process information. Because if we use our common sense and tell you, hey, this is the storm supposed to be in your area? What did your weatherman say? Well, they said it's supposed to get bad. Okay, what is the definition of bad? Is it ice? Because you hear people saying, oh, it ain't no snow, it's just raining. Okay, is it cold there?
Right.
Yes, it's very cold. Okay, that's a problem.
That means ice.
That means ice. That means that a lot of bad things can happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah, it went to what you saying about when people just say, "Oh, that's not going to happen." Like we got to look at it like we're all influencers on some type of level, whether you're on the internet or you at work or you going to school or in your house. Like we all influence people.
yeah,
So you should really be conscious about what you're saying because you'll sway somebody from not do something or do something that they need to do or not need to do.
right. That's so true.
Get the information for you and don't just shut another option down completely. Just say, well, I'm not in that area, so that's not for me. Don't say, oh, it ain't gonna be nothing, because that's gonna turn the other person. They might need to actually go do that, but they listening to you because you have influenced them to move how you're moving, and y'all are in two different areas.
Yeah, so true. It's like you don't. People just got to take more responsibility for what they say, what they do, and what they think. They have to just take more for that. They have to come up with the philosophy that we're all connected in some way, shape, or form. So, no matter how you feel in the day, be careful because you can put it on somebody else. And you got to look at the bigger picture. I understand looking at the details, which is important. Then you also got to look at the bigger picture. And sometimes I think people start living in a moment and they make all these decisions in a moment, not knowing how it's going to affect everybody overall. So all these things are important, and people should concern themselves with these things. I was thinking about, when people choose their life, whatever it may be, if it's a certain employment, a job, the way they're going to carry themselves, who they're going to be, they seem to forget that it affects everybody. Whatever you do, whoever you become, whatever flag you want to carry. And I think if people thought about that more, they would concern themselves with the success of everyone. But because they don't, they get caught up in just what they're doing. And they'll even say some people don't care what people think until they don't like what people think.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of do care about what that person thinks. Okay. Anything that can make them look at you crazy or think the thing that you want them to think. Because if you do something crazy, you can't come back and say, whoa, hey, I don't like them thinking that way about me. They tripping. No. What you did, they don't like it or they wouldn't agree with it. So why are you doing it if that's not the way you want to be seen, or you don't want people to process you like that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes complete sense because let's just think about we think, oh, well, this is my life. I'm just doing what I'm doing. And you don't think about the people that are younger that are looking at you and they really look up to you. And here recently, I found out that there's people that are older that'll look down to somebody as far as age, and they'll be looking up to them too.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure their life out off of somebody that's younger than them because they've reached a point I'm still figuring it out too. So if you can make the best decision for yourself, you have no idea who you're going to be influencing,
Yeah.
how you can make or break their life. So if you are doing some things that you might not want to talk about publicly, then we probably should keep that private and stop flaunting it outside, because we'll do something and we're young. Oh, I'm kicking it. I'm going to the club. I talk to 5 different people, whatever. You don't want your younger cousins to do that. You say, no, don't do that. Don't. Why are you doing it?
Right.
Because they're watching you.
Yeah.
Even though they're like, well, she's doing this, he's doing that, so I'm gonna do that too. And it's like, if you wouldn't tell somebody else to do that, then why are we wearing this stuff on our sleeve?
Yeah.
Like we introduce ourselves like this, but you would shake your finger at somebody and tell them, don't do that. I don't want that for you. Then you don't do it. It's like, it's common sense. We need to get away from too people like, oh, don't do as I do as I say. We learn from what we see more than what we hear.
Yeah.
So we have to start showing people how we think they should live.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. It's common sense. But we make things really hard.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. If people could write down a list, especially to the teens or whoever they love coming after them, there would be a list of things they would say, do not do these things. Don't do these things. Don't do drinking too much. I just found out about smoking, make your teeth fall out. That's a whole other conversation. They were like, don't do drugs. Don't be out here getting too high. Don't be out here, like you said, talking to a whole bunch of people and dealing with them in so many different intimate ways. Don't just meet somebody and just be kissing them, and you go on and on with this list of things you shouldn't do. Don't meet somebody, don't take them right to your dorm, especially don't sneak them in the house and all this. You just met them. Why are you going anywhere with them? It would be stern said. But then when you look in your life, you're like, wait a minute, everything I told them not to do, I did or is doing. And that's the most insane thing ever. And I do it in front of them. Mm-hmm. They see me getting dressed to go see somebody that they know I don't know. It's insane. They see me drinking. They see me smoking. They see me treating people. Now, they're like, treat people how you want to be treated. But they see me treating people knowing that's not how I want to be treated. Because when I'm treated like that, I'm upset. Mm-hmm. So, man, the duality of life is crazy, so you try to be careful of what you're doing. Like you said, not just saying, do what I say, but let me watch what I'm doing, because that's going to have more of an impression, more of an influence over their life beyond what I'm just saying. So I totally agree with that. And that will make you more conscious. When you get in that mind state of like, I really need to be conscious of what I'm doing, what I'm saying, how I'm moving, my perspectives. You do by being clear in your own mind, you actually naturally just help other people. Mm-hmm. You're just naturally going to help other people by just being clearer in your mind, because it's not about judging in the wrong way, but it's about judging in the right way. Like, you can judge yourself, say, hey, was that good? Was that bad? And by doing that, it makes it easier when you're talking to somebody else, because you're going to have a certain type of grace and mercy and compassion for yourself. At least grace and mercy is going to be different for yourself and your situation. So when you're talking to somebody else, you got to put yourself over there with them and be like, yo, if that was me, what type of grace and mercy would I want to be given to me in this situation? And then that's what you should give. You should give that same instruction that you would work with, that same grace that you would be able to work with, that same mercy you should apply to some of the people you care about, the people you're trying to help. You should apply that same grace and mercy to them, or discipline to them that needs to get them where they need to get. Just know that it should still make sense if it was happening to you. If it was happening to you, you handle it. Would it roll with you? Would it make you stronger, or would it break you? You know, because if you say it will break you, then maybe that ain't the way you need to be doing it. You know, so you really got to look at it and say, man, that's a way for me to do this with this individual, so they can become great, or at least, and you know, sometimes the people are not always right there. And the Bible talks about some seed, some water, right? So sometimes you might just be putting the seed for somebody else later to water and say, hey, you know, we should, you know, like, I heard that before. This person told me this, that I should look at it like that. I just didn't want to hear it because it was them. But now that you said something, it kind of stuck with me a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's been many times I've heard something when I was way younger, or late teens, early 20s, and it got on my nerves at the time I was hearing it. 5, 10 years passed, and I'm like, oh, that's what they was talking about. I totally understand that, and I wish I could have understood what they were saying when they were saying it, because I could have avoided all of the stuff in between when I heard it and fully get an understanding today. I've done like, wow, that understanding is very important, and it's good to plant the seed. But I in my opinion, I think that we should appreciate those things more and try to apply them sooner. But it's this thing that we do overall, people do overall, is what we're talking about right now. What we should do is boring. Oh, that's boring. Y'all lame. You don't do nothing. We don't do nothing. We don't do nothing. You don't need to do nothing. And that's not what they're saying. They're like, why do we have to do that? We glorify the other stuff. This is fun. We kicking it. And it's just an immature thought process. Because I remember thinking like that. Like, if I'm not smoking, if I'm not drinking, if I'm not going to the club every weekend, even Wednesday sometimes, ladies night, Thursday, if I'm not hitting all these dates, I'm boring, I'm lame. If you ain't doing this, and it's really not. It's really not. Like, it's okay to do those things, but we shouldn't wrap our whole life around doing that. Because if we change our thought process on that, then we would have better lives, more fulfilling lives, and we wouldn't be the person we talk about the stores that ain't got no money to go get the stuff, because your brain is just going to think of new things. Like, okay, instead of doing that, I could have been doing something to get some money. I could have been fixing my credit. I could have had a clean record so I can get the good job. But no, the fun stuff is the stuff that usually gets us in trouble down the road.
Exactly. It's so true. It's so true. The stuff that they label as fun, it's really a setup for failure. And because what really would be fun is building your structure, making sure your health is good, setting things up to get ready for your later years, so you'll be able to live at peace. Because if you can barely make it while you're young with a job, what's going to happen when you don't have the job no more? You got to retire out. So if you're doing check for check, they don't check now. So I think it's a very interesting conversation of people just not taking that information, because everybody hears this. Everybody's heard about this, about what you're doing with your retirement fund, what you're doing with your money. This is an on and on and on thing, and people still investing in alcohol, still investing in, and that's fine. All those things are good. When I say investing, I don't mean like stock. I'm talking about going to the liquor store and just drinking every day. And it's just the problem with those things. And it's funny because they even put stuff on like a sin tax, which is hilarious. But the situation with those things is they're usually messing with your health. And if they're messing with your health, now you got another problem on your hands, because if your money already funny and your insurance is not that good, it can really put you in a questionable position. And that's what people really got to think about. Like, oh man, if I'm out here, you don't want to be doing anything. I don't want to see you, if you don't have health insurance, I really don't want to see you doing dances that you jump over couches, land on your knees. You know, the hands on your knees, hands on your knees. But it's just like, maybe you shouldn't be doing that, because you You got a life insurance problem, you got a health insurance problem, and you're like, well, I just go to the emergency room, and now you have a bill that's going to go to the people you don't want it to go to, and they're going to be blowing your phone up and messing up your credit. So it's this continual why you should be conscious of the things that you're doing, because this is why you got to be careful with ignorance. Ignorance is fine because you don't know. Well, once you know, you don't want to start leaning towards dumb and stupid because you're still doing it. Because ignorance is bliss. But when it can really change some things up. So you want to be conscious about your health, number one. And you always want to be building things to put you in a better situation. That's what you want. You really want to be put in a better situation. That's got to be the energy. That's got to be the setup. That's got to be the belief all the time. What am I doing to put myself in a better position? You got to ask yourself that not just once a day, a couple of times. What am I doing? How am I treating people that I think that I need to be treating right? You got to concern yourself with that before you can concern yourself with the world. Even Jesus talked about, I need to deal with the ones you gave me. I ain't talking about the world. I need to talk about the ones you gave me. You gotta, what God gave you, make sure you're doing right by those, and then you can concern yourself with the world. You hear people all the time talking about, yeah, I want to save the world. I want to do this. I want to do this. But what about your people on your block? What about your cousins related? What about your brothers and sisters? What about your mama? What about your daddy? What about your kids? What you talking about how to help the whole world?
What about you?
The whole world? You got people trying to help save people in Africa. And it's like, that's fine and all, but can you save somebody from your block?
Man.
Can you help your kids? Can you, back to that process, how are you looking so far off when you got stuff right in front of you that you are below average?
Yes.
Below average of dealing with. So it's so important that people start to focus on the things around them. Your things, you have stuff on your plate. Why do you worry about other people's tables? Deal with your plate right in front of you. Oh, no, deal with it. But just what they say. They say, well, I'm giving my plate to the Lord. I'm going to let him deal with my issues. Okay, then what you going to do? I'm going to go here and get in their business. No, you need to get back to your stuff, your table, your plate. Deal with your stuff. Let God deal with them. You deal with yours.
Exactly.
That's what you should be doing. But no, and I've found that to be a continual problem. A continual problem that's been happening, especially in the African American community. I mean, you talk to most people in the African American black culture, they're going to say two words that you're going to know. Here we go. And those two words are, I'm trying to build these two words.
Generational wealth.
And as soon as you hear that, you're like, and here we
go. Exactly. Exactly. Is it the best way to help your community is to help yourself?
Amen.
We look past ourselves so easily that it doesn't make any sense. Get you some wealth first. Yeah, get you a couple thousand first. Before we start talking about generational wealth. We can't take care of the next generation if you can barely take care of yourself. Before we even bring in our kids, our significant other, our spouses, what our moms, you have to be able to take care of you first before you can talk about generations. Generations is kids. We talking about whole lifetimes. You can't even get past you, then what are we talking about? Nothing. We just talking. And then it usually dies right there. You say that and then everybody goes to work or goes and does what they do after that. And things done after we sit there and say, we building generational wealth. How? Get a piece of paper. If somebody say that, get a piece of paper. Right now, what you doing right now to build generational wealth? And it better be more than I'm going to work. Because that's not enough. That's people living paycheck to paycheck. So we have to start just putting all the energy in the conversation.
Yeah, it's so funny because you know that generational wealth conversation is so funny because, like you said, that's lifetimes, top of lifetimes on top of lifetime. Because you can have two lifetimes that's close in age. That's one generation. So it's not, you know what I mean. So when you say generational, that's totally different. People don't out there to be having the concepts of that. And how are you going to have generational wealth when, first of all, you don't have any wealth? You don't have 6 months of wealth. So
Next week, wealth.
next week, well, you going to check the check. So you ain't nowhere close to wealth. You're not even rich. There's many rich people that's not wealthy.
Facts.
And there's people doing well that's not rich.
Facts.
So you none of these things. What you talking about generational wealth? It doesn't make any sense, and that's the problem. Since it doesn't make any sense, it damn sure ain't making no dollars. So it leaves people in a undeveloped place, you know. And I understand going through it. That's why I say, okay, it's okay to go through it, because that's the thing in life, trying to find your groove. And the most powerful thing about any steady groove is that step back when everybody go, oh yeah, let's get it. But your whole thing can't be a step back. It look cool for the step back because the whole dance is forward. But if you always step back, you never moving forward. You become consumed by failure. So now we're starting to have levels of failure. Well, they didn't feel that bad. You know, and it's like, no, this is bad. It's failure. We don't need to figure this out. How much failure it is failure. We need to get some wins. You know, we need to have levels of wins, not levels of failure. But people become masters of the levels of failure. They'll break it down. This. No, I don't even want to talk about it. It didn't work. We should be up here, you know. And if we're going to talk about it, let's do it to dissect it, not get up here and get an argument. Let's dissect it to see what the problem is, so that we don't do it again. I think that's so important for people to have the mind state and to be willing to learn from it, not use it as another hit. A lot of times people take things that don't go well and they'll use it as another hit to themselves, not to do better, because they're like, I tried it, it didn't work. What did you do? Well, I did exactly what I was supposed to do, and it just didn't open up for me. Okay, but what did you do? You keep asking me what I do. Well, what did you do? I went up to the door and I turned around and I kicked it 2 times and it didn't open. Like, well, no. Don't you got a key? Yeah, I got a key. What are you talking about? I know how to open the door. Okay, you said you kicked it. Did I? Yeah, you said you kicked. Well, yeah, but then I put the key in. Okay. Well, when did you put the key in after the kick? Well, before the kick. Okay, you didn't say that. So what happened when you put the key in? It didn't fit. That's why I had to kick it. Well, hold on. What key do you got? Why you keep asking me about the key? Because, well, can I see the key? Why do you need to see the key? I need to see the key, man. They didn't show you the key. It ain't the right key. And they were like, oh, yeah, I knew that wasn't the right key because I had my key at this person's. And the story just goes on and on. You're like, hey, man, what's wrong with you? Now you can keep the door, didn't open it, you got the wrong key.
Man, now this key go to something else, and the key probably done broke off, or now you can't. Now you gotta fix.
All this for what? When all you had to do is have a conversation, bro. You knew you didn't have the right key. Did you even use this key, or did you just come here and
just say you did because you know you need a key
and you wanted to kick the door, and so you just kick the door? So it gets weirder and weirder by the moment, and that's why I say, ignorance is bliss. But some things just get ridiculous. You're like, hey, we have to use our common sense. We have to be willing to get information, process it, and use it. We can't set our minds to get information and to reject it. No, get information, chop it up. I used to hear the old people say, you got to take time and chew on that one nugget. Just chew on that. Like, I'll be chewing on that for the next 2 weeks. You have to get it, think about it, Don't worry about how somebody said it. Get the information. They just say, get the meat and spit up the bones. You gotta just get what you got out of it and roll on down the road and be great.
Yeah, I mean, as I get older, I understand more when people were saying things before because they didn't accomplish nothing and they've had time to process the life that they chose to live. And now they might have some good information for me now because they like hindsight's 2020. Now I know exactly what I should have did, so I'm gonna tell you. And also things that I got from somebody that like you don't have to go through everything. Some experience is the best teacher, but it leaves scars.
Yeah.
So if you do have somebody that you trust, that you respect, you should say words and really cherish them because even something might not apply today, you should still put it in your tool shed because you may need it.
Yeah.
And if you shut them down or you let it go in one ear not the other, you won't even know what you missed. And when you get to a space in life, you already came across the information, but now you don't even because you didn't even respect the situation enough to even get what you needed to get from it.
Yeah.
Things come across your table for a reason. For you to be like, okay, that's retarded, or because I may need this in the future, or whatever reason it showed up in your life because you needed to see this for whatever reason. So we should just respect everything that comes across the table, whether you need it or not. Because I've learned a lot from people, a lot of how not to live my life from just having conversations with people or watching people. Like, oh, I definitely don't want to do that. And I wish I would have clinged more to the people that I said I respected, their information, their words, the life that they live. That I might see something in their life that I want. So why wouldn't I take the information that they're giving me? And that's what we should do. We should take everything and we should process everything. And if you don't understand something, get some understanding.
Yeah.
I've heard me. I didn't quite understand what that was, but I know some trials and tribulations since I got the information. We're like, you know what? I actually knew what to do with this, but I didn't know what that was. And if I would have just took the time to have that person explain to me, or even go and do my own research on that, I would have got the information, and I wouldn't have had to go through what I went through. And I'm sure that's true for a lot of people.
Super facts. That's so true. Yeah, you have to be willing. When you're talking, I was thinking about that. You have to be willing. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to take the information in. You have to be willing to understand that feeling you feel that we call offense is just a widening. You have to widen that fence. You have to pull that fence up out the ground. You might do some fixing to that fence. It might be broken. You might have to mend some things, and then you're going to expand. You got to add that piece to it, and that can be uncomfortable because it's changing your borders around you. Your borders are widening. Things are getting bigger around you, more spread out, and that could be uncomfortable. You have to go along with it, and so I do get it, but you have to be willing. That's why, you're a lot of the Bible when it talks about let thy will be done, or any of those books in that time period, they always talk about your will and thou will and stuff like that, because it's so important that you're willing to learn, to walk in power, to educate yourself. You have to be willing, because it doesn't matter what you get in life. You can lose it all if you're not willing to continue to grow, to continue to meditate on the things that bring you peace and harmony. A lot of people talk about prayer, but prayer is you talking to God. Meditation is you listening. So it's like that be the difference, because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't pray, I'm against that. I mean, I pray, I don't meditate because that's weird. I just pray. Well, praying is you talking. You know what I'm saying? That's you and your spiritual voice talking to God. Even if you're quiet, you're still telling God stuff. But meditation is quiet and receiving. One is giving, one is receiving. And you need to be able to do both. You need to sometimes sit and just be quiet and listen to yourself and see what's inside. There's a lot of voices inside of us
Mhm.
all, and we need to know who's talking to us, and who's and why they talking to us, and what are we hearing. It all sounds like you, but it's all these different thoughts moving around in your head. And when you first meditate, it's like a monkey in a cage, just, and I'm talking about just sitting quiet for 15 minutes. It'll make you think about a lot of stuff. You'll find yourself thinking about somebody in second grade, and that show you how in your subconscious there's so many things in there. And after you think you can clean it out, that's how they get the thing. They be like, that person living in that person's head rent free. That's
Mhm.
where all that comes from, and it's so important. Like we talked about the weather in the beginning, that you take the information, you don't sit there and make fun of it, and make sure you understand what the location is, what's going on. So when somebody else that's in that situation, they can get the information and take it serious, because they might only check your page out. They might talk to you at work. They might not really be a type of person that really know what's going on.
Mhm.
And they just hear you saying all this stupid stuff that don't make sense. And you might mess them up. You'll be sad about it. I heard one woman driving a car, she wasn't expecting it to be bad, because people were saying it wasn't going to be that bad. And her car went off, I think, a bridge, 100-foot fall.
Mhm.
And I'm just saying, maybe things have been a little different if people were saying, hey, everybody was agreeing that it was bad. But people tell you it's not that bad. You can go ahead. And then, no pun intended, but boom. And there you are in a situation. So it's so important to be able to take the information, work it out, make it make sense for what it does with you, and move on down the road,
Yeah, I mean, that is important. Like people, you're like, oh, well, they only talk to you at work, and yeah, you might live in the city that you work in, but we know that people drive hours to go to work
Yeah.
sometimes. So it might not be bad in the place that y'all are working together in, but we got to remember that people commute hours. They'll cross over different county lines to get to work.
Yeah.
So if you're at work talking how you talking about the area that you live in and not leaving it open for somebody to at least let them go listen to and get what they need to get from it, and they got to drive 2 hours to work. Now they didn't put their life in danger trying to get to work or trying to get home, because they could have made another decision. Like maybe they might have some PTO time. Like I might need to take a couple days off. I might need to stay home because that drive might be crazy for me.
Exactly. That's true. So true. You have to think about other people when you're just out here and you're just doing stuff. You have to see, the whole thing about information is that you take it in, get the info, and you work through it. And if it's good, you communicate it to the next person. You can't be out here communicating stuff to people the way you're in a wrong way. You're setting people up for failure. And most of the time, we're speaking to people that we actually care about in some way. Even if it's a person at the job, you probably talk to them. That's how this information is flowing. So you said people are commuting every day, driving an hour or two to get there. So this person could end up, finding themselves in a very disturbing place because of the way you decide to handle it. So I would be very conscious of those things, that was very interesting, various outlook, we're about to get ready to tie it up. Is there anything else you want to say before we tie it up concerning everything?
Just like you said, be conscious of how we communicate things and how we deliver things to people, because you might really feel how you feel about the situation, but don't let somebody else off from getting what they need to get from something. Don't do that. Let it be open. If you're gonna say something, let it be open, because you can still state your opinion about something and let that person get what they need to get from it. We need to learn how to communicate better. Communication is terrible overall. And as I grow and time passes and I learn and I listen, I've sharpened up on communication as well, like using the proper words and what words to use, what they mean. Because two words, you might be like, oh, this fits, but just because it fit don't mean you're supposed to be using it in that conversation. And you gotta be careful who we talking to, who's a part of this conversation. Going to these jobs, I'm gonna go back to these jobs, or you going to school, college, there's many different age groups. You could be a 60-year-old person in a class with a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta be able to communicate.
Yeah.
Always, you don't know who might be listening to, who you could teach something to, who you could learn from, and your words will make somebody be like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't even want to listen to them. And you really have some good information for them. But the way you decided to communicate in that time period, you turned them off, led them the wrong way. Now you didn't push them to somebody that don't know, that really don't know what they're talking about. Now they in trouble just because you might have been joking around for a couple minutes. Like, we got to really be conscious about that, I think, because I know I've probably led people in the wrong direction in my lifetime with my learning how to communicate and how to deliver messages and what words to use, my volume, the energy that I carry. I know I've turned off a lot of people in my lifetime because I'm not the person I am today that I was then. I'm completely different. So I think communication is big as we continue down this road of this thing we call life. Should always be willing to learn.
Yeah, you gotta be willing to learn, and I totally agree with that. As time passes, you're supposed to become wiser and learn how to filter the information you take in and that you output. It's part of the progression of life to continue to learn, continue to become a better person, knowing how to communicate to people, how to conversate with people, and say things. You can be stern and disciplined without trying to be hateful or hurtful. And sometimes people do get hurt by your truth because truth sometimes causes pain, or it really elevates people. You really want to get the saying, if you really want to get along with people, don't tell the truth. If you don't tell the truth, you can get along with everybody. We just lie, or keep it very basic. But as soon as you tell somebody the truth, either it's going to elevate them or they're going to be offended by you, and that can go to the left. So all these things come from, because everybody's ignorant at first. You don't know. But once you start learning and you have the willing to learn, you have to change according to the information you get. There's so many things that I won't go on this one because we're about to close out, but in other lives I will get more deeper into it. There's things that I was standing on in my lifetime, and then I learned by different things that happened in my life, and I had to make a change on the way I seen that situation, how I felt about it, and became more of a pusher of it when I was against it, because I just seen it different. I got some information, I got educated, I became wiser, and I said, hey, I'm going to tell someone else that might not be the way to carry it, that might not be the way to do it. With information, this is why. And that's what it's all about. Willing to learn, because you can learn. You have the power to learn. And because you do, you should be concerned with that. Be concerned with your life because it belongs to you. You got the past, you got the future, but the most important is today, which is recent, and that's the gift of life. What you can control is right now, what's going on right now. That's the gift. That's what it's about. Because the past can't do nothing about the future. You try to get ready for it, but you right here in the moment, and make sure you're doing everything you learned from the past, and make sure it's building you up for the future, because the future is always a second away and the past is always a second behind you. So if you can really understand that, you should get into a flow of doing things that's going to always set you up, that you can learn from the second you just passed. So thanks for coming to visit the Common Sense Philosophy channel. This was our first live. We're going to be doing some more. This one's been a little rough. We don't know. We'll check it out after we get off of here. But we're definitely going to do better over time. And I hope you guys enjoyed this hour of hanging out with us. If you missed this one, we're going to try to